Welcome to History in a Hurry. I'm Professor Malcolm Mazer, and in this episode we will learn about the First Crusade. The First Crusade, from 1096 to 1099, was the first of a series of religious wars launched by European Christians to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim control. It was sparked by a combination of religious fervor, political ambition, and military opportunity. The immediate cause was a request from the Byzantine Emperor Alexios Bethunkomnenos for military aid against the Seljuk Turks, who had taken over much of Anatolia and threatened Christian access to pilgrimage sites in Jerusalem. In response, Pope Urban II delivered a passionate speech at the Council of Clermont in 1095, calling upon Christians to take up arms to reclaim the Holy Land, offering spiritual rewards, including the remission of sins for those who joined the cause. The call to arms ignited widespread enthusiasm across Europe, leading to an unorganized wave known as the People's Crusade, led by Peter the Hermit. Composed mostly of peasants and untrained fighters, this group set out ahead of the main Crusader forces but was poorly equipped and lacked military discipline. As they traveled through Europe, many participants engaged in violent attacks against Jewish communities, particularly in the Rhineland, in what became one of the earliest examples of anti-Semitic massacres in medieval Europe. When the People's Crusade finally reached Anatolia, it was quickly crushed by the Seljuk Turks, exposing the challenges of an ill-prepared military campaign. The main Crusader forces, composed of European knights and nobles, departed in 1096. This army was led by prominent figures such as Godfrey of Bouillon, Raymond of Toulouse, Bohemond of Taranto, and Baldwin of Boulogne. Unlike the People's Crusade, this force was better equipped and organized, though it was still plagued by logistical difficulties, internal rivalries, and the harsh conditions of the long march to the Holy Land. Upon arriving in Byzantine territory, the Crusaders were welcomed by Emperor Alexios, who sought their help in reclaiming lost lands from the Turks. In exchange for supplies and assistance, the Crusader leaders swore oaths of loyalty to Alexios, promising to return captured Byzantine territory to the empire. However, this agreement later led to tensions, as many Crusaders prioritized their own conquests over honoring their commitment to Byzantium. The First Crusade's first major military engagement was the Siege of Nicaea in 1097. The city, controlled by the Seljuks, was strategically important for securing a foothold in Anatolia. After a prolonged siege, the Byzantines negotiated a peaceful surrender with the Turkish defenders, bypassing the Crusaders, who had hoped to plunder the city. This created resentment between the Crusaders and the Byzantines, foreshadowing future conflicts between Western European and Eastern Christian forces. Following their victory at Nicaea, the Crusaders marched through Anatolia, enduring extreme hardship due to the harsh terrain and Turkish resistance. The next key battle occurred at Dorylaeum, where the Crusaders, despite being ambushed, managed to defeat the Turks, gaining momentum in their campaign. They then proceeded toward the Levant, capturing key cities along the way. In 1098, the Crusaders laid siege to Antioch, one of the most heavily fortified cities in the region. The siege lasted for months, causing severe starvation and disease among the Crusaders. Eventually, the city fell due to betrayal from within, as a Christian guard secretly allowed the Crusaders entry. However, soon after taking Antioch, the Crusaders themselves were besieged by a Muslim army led by Kerboga of Mosul. They ultimately triumphed, partly due to a morale-boosting discovery of what was believed to be the Holy Lance, the spear that had pierced Christ's side. This event reinforced the Crusaders' belief that they were fighting a divinely sanctioned war. After securing Antioch, the Crusaders finally turned their attention to Jerusalem, which was under the control of the Fatimid Caliphate. By the time they arrived in 1099, Their numbers had dwindled due to disease, battle losses, and desertion. Nevertheless, they launched a determined assault on the city. After a brutal siege, the Crusaders breached Jerusalem's defenses on July 15, 1099. What followed was a massacre of the city's Muslim and Jewish inhabitants, with thousands killed in the ensuing bloodshed. The violent conquest cemented the Crusaders' reputation and deepened hostility between Christians and Muslims. Following the capture of Jerusalem, the Crusaders established several Crusader states, including the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the County of Edessa, the Principality of Antioch, and the County of Tripoli. Godfrey of Bouillon was named the first ruler of Jerusalem, though he refused the title of king, instead adopting the title Defender of the Holy Sepulchre. His successor, Baldwin Bertrand, formally established the Kingdom of Jerusalem, setting the stage for ongoing Christian rule in the region. The First Crusade was the most successful of all the Crusades, as it achieved its primary goal of capturing Jerusalem. However, it also set the stage for centuries of conflict between Christians and Muslims in the region. The Crusader states were constantly under threat from Muslim forces, leading to the need for further crusades to defend and expand their territory. In the long term, the First Crusade had significant consequences for both Europe and the Middle East. It stimulated trade and cultural exchange between the two regions, introduced new military tactics, and deepened religious divisions. It also demonstrated the growing power of the papacy in uniting European Christians under a common cause. However, the brutality of the Crusades and the violent conquest of Jerusalem left a lasting legacy of distrust and animosity between Christians and Muslims. While the First Crusade achieved its immediate military goals, its success was short-lived. Muslim leaders, particularly Saladin in the 12th century, would later reclaim much of the lost territory, leading to further crusades. The wars that followed continued to shape medieval history and the broader relationship between the Christian and Islamic worlds. Thanks for racing through history with us on History in a Hurry. If you enjoyed today's quick dive into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a fast-paced trip through time. Please reply in the comments with ideas for our next history lesson. See you in the next one.